Thank you, Chairman King and Ranking Member Daines, for inviting me to join you today to testify on a bill that I believe is necessary to help preserve and tell America's full history and embrace further the rich mosaic that is the United States of America. And it's fitting that I'm here today, that we're here today during Hispanic Heritage Month to consider a measure on behalf of the César E. Chávez and the Farm Worker Movement National Historic Park Act. Now, this month we remember the accomplishments and contributions made by Latino leaders in America throughout our nation's history. And we celebrate the people and the movements that have helped shape our nation and who have moved our country closer to living up to the ideals of democracy and equality that were established at our nation's founding. What better way to do that during Hispanic Heritage Month than to honor the civil rights icon and labor leader, César Chávez, for future generations of Americans? As its name implies, my bill would establish a National Historic Park to preserve the nationally significant sites associated with César Chávez and the Farm Worker Movement. A little bit of legislative history. In 2008, in a bipartisan effort led by Senators John McCain and Senator Barbara Boxer, as well as Representative Hilda Solis at the time, Congress directed the National Park Service to conduct a study of sites significant to the life of Chavez and the farm labor movement. The National Park Service determined several sites to be, quote, nationally significant and recommended Congress establish a National Historic Park. While President Obama designated the UFW headquarters and Chavez's home in La Paz, California, as a national monument in 2012, this legislation would build on that foundation and allow the National Park Service to tell the complete story of the movement through the inclusion of additional significant sites. If the National Park Service is to continue to be America's storyteller, this bill will help us honor and be more inclusive of the people who have moved our country forward. And on a personal note, I know some of you may recall the day and the ceremony when President Obama first established the César E. Chávez National Monument in Keene, California. I remember it because I was there. My wife Angela and I pulled our oldest son Roman from school that day so that we could be part of history in the making. It was on that day in 2012 with Roman perched on my shoulders that we watched as a Latino leader was honored in the national park system. And if you think I'm exaggerating, Mr. Chairman, here's a photo from that day. A new generation of Americans saw that our nation also celebrates those who challenge us to build a more inclusive America. And kids like mine, we now have 3 boys, can grow up knowing that some of the most courageous and admirable Americans are activists and organizers. They too are heroes. They're farm workers and laborers. And yes, they're Latino. And that's what we have a chance to do today, to help expand the story of our nation to better reflect the communities who helped write it, and to remind us of the continued fight for dignity, for respect, and for equal justice that still lies before us. So I look forward to working with this committee to advance this bill, and I thank you again for allowing me the opportunity to share a few words today.